I'm holding court. Yeah, I'm gonna get that part. I don't know who that is. Standing trial.
I'm holding court. Standing trial.
Man, man, thank you for coming on the show again, bro.
Yeah, man, thank you for having me. I think this my fourth?
Fourth, yeah, man. It's gonna be a fifth and a sixth and a seventh. Long as I'm doing this.
Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gonna talk.
Hey, man, listen, I'm down here in Kansas City, Missouri. It's going down, man. I done had an extraordinary time, and I just pulled up. And as soon as I get here, I get to meet the governor. He's here, man, holding court.
Yeah.
I'm holding court. Yeah, I'm going to get that part. I don't know who that is. Standing trial.
I'm holding court. Standing trial.
Man, man, thank you for coming on the show again, bro.
Yeah, man, thank you for having me. I think this my fourth?
Fourth, and it's gonna be a fifth and a sixth and a seventh. Long as I'm doing this,
but y'all gotta come to me. See, it's one-sided right now.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We gotta go over there because I've never did an interview, and I guarantee you, yours probably gonna be my first interview. You know what I mean?
Definitely, because people see y'all, but they don't know the backstory.
No,
like
they
that,
don't.
You know
they don't.
I mean?
But that's purposely done.
I know it is. I know it is. I know it is.
Until we ready. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I think it's because I just feel like we got so much work to do, and it's like a person getting ready for a wedding. Like man, we got to be ready. We got to make sure we can afford everything. You know what I'm saying? That's the way you be thinking.
But not only that, for me, I'm thinking we will build up ourselves so much where everybody is so curious, so that whenever we do, it's not going to only benefit us, but it benefit whoever we do that interview with, because everybody's going to be tuning in like, man, I want to know this, I want to know that. You know what I mean? So it's like right now, I don't think people are as curious as they should or they could be. So that's over time. I think that's going to get built up.
Yeah, I think you leave bits and pieces of yourself, though.
Yeah, we do. We do that. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I want to first of all, I want to say, man, your co-host is doing a tremendous job, man.
Yeah.
I love the new setup, man. Just seeing the way that you guys are moving, man, and grooving.
Thank you.
I think it's so, refreshing to see a father and a daughter team, unity, family.
Yeah.
I think that's so refreshing in this time, and the way we see all this stuff on the internet. Yeah. I just feel like that's so needed, man. So thank you, man, for even giving us that. You know what I'm talking about?
I appreciate it. I mean, shout out to my oldest daughter, Rachel Renee.
Rachel Renee, man. Go hard in the paint, man.
People love her, bro.
Oh, man.
People love her.
Yes.
I've had people, some of my No Limit brothers would be like, yeah, nigga, she the real star.
They do that. They say that about her, man. They playing you, man. You and her both, you got to have to.
Yeah, she is the real star.
I know, man.
But I got to ask, since you changed your set, and how has that affected the podcast? How do you view it, and how do other people? Do people come up to you and say, man, I like it better how it was, or I like it better how it is?
Yeah.
I want your point of view, and I want other people's point of view.
Oddly enough, people dig the more intimate setting at the house. You know what I mean? So the viewers have said that they love it. I've shared some of my technical struggles with y'all, what I mean, behind the scenes. So it's had its perks and its drawbacks too, because before with producer Ken, who, by the way, a lot of people ask me, they say, what's up with producer Ken? Where is he at? Is he still a part of the show? Producer Ken is my brother. He will always be a part of the show, but producer Ken working.
Of course, of course.
So he owns a real life production company. So he's traveling with the NBA and Capcom and all of that. So with that being said, we hadn't been able to get into the soundstage. So I said, man, let's go to the house. So we have select guests that come to the house. So with that, I had to hire, outsource.
Right.
I'm not as autonomous and independent as y'all, you know what I mean? And so that's the only drawback is, me having to learn and navigate the technical part of it, and not, having that support from producer Ken, who spoiled me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when we saw it, we were like, at first, I was like, that looked like Court's house. Yeah. It could be.
I said,
he was like, nah, he ain't just gonna bring anybody to his house. You crazy. That can't be his house.
Yeah, certain guests can come to the house. I mean, Tank I had at the house, a couple other guests. Now, I will say, maybe some guests that I don't know like that. Right. I may go get an Airbnb.
Of course.
But the people I know come to the house.
The one thing I can say is, man, it's just it looked like a more expensive channel now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of art in there, pianos and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm like, man, the button put it over there. You know, you got Oprah and them watching now. You know, we getting Oprah and Robert Smith and all of those. You know, the elite group. You know, the Zuckerbergs may be watching, trying to understand the father and daughter team. Man,
you know, I like to show a little bit. You know, every now and again, I may show my cars and give a little. I'm not really a flashy person, but you know, we in the visual age. It's a time and place for it, you know, and I think so, because I don't want my brand is me for real. You know what I mean? It's just me being me. Mm-hmm. So I try to balance. I don't want to come off so contrived where it's always just sell, market. You want to kind of show a human component, you know. So that's why I kind of, this is y'all kind of see where my space is or how my day-to-day is a little bit, you know, because even though, you know, like y'all do it, even though y'all in front of millions of people all the time, they still don't know a whole lot about you, you know. Yeah. So we still try to protect a level of anonymity, or you try to keep some shit to yourself. You know what I mean? So I don't mind showing a little bit, you know.
I gotta ask this. Yeah. So I see sometimes you post workouts or in the gym. Sometimes, you know, you're driving your nice car or
of course.
Different things. And I know that when you're doing interviews, you know, you're not gonna attract the ratchet and all of that. But you're gonna have those women be like, because you don't ever show your wife. You show your kids and stuff like that. But I know some of those females probably in the DM be like, "Are you available? You fine? This."
You know what? I get asked that all the time. I would say females, women, they compliment me, right? I do get the compliments.
That's their way of trying to get in.
That's what my wife said. Right? That's what my wife said. No, I get the compliments and stuff, which I am, you know, I'm grateful for. But every now and again, it may be somebody to say something like just straight up. I've had some.
What's the craziest?
I had two.
Okay, if you can talk about it.
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
I had one young lady hop in my DM and just say, "What's up on that dick?" She just said it. What's up on that dick? I was like, okay. I blocked her. Then, so the movie I did, I had a love scene.
That kissing scene.
Yeah, the kissing scene. So that was a rehearsal, right? And a chick got it. And I want to get super. But she was just basically like, I just watched that. And it made me feel some kind of way. And I'll fuck the shit out you. And this is going to end it with respectfully. You know what I mean? Respectfully. So other than that, I just get complimented, you know. But I do get the woman attention.
How did your wife feel about that kissing scene when she saw you post it?
Or
did you tell her about it before it came?
Come on, man. I had to, cause she run shit. I had to clear that.
Oh, he had to clear that.
I had to clear it before I did it.
Before you did it.
I already knew that.
Yeah. So when I got the script, and I said, I said, okay. So I just said, wifey, I said, so I got a kiss, not only one, but two chicks. Because I got two love scenes with two different women.
Okay.
And so she was like, all right, what you going to be doing?
I was about to say, how far is it going to go?
I said, well, no, it's not like no soft porn stuff, but you know, it's insinuated, but it'll be tasteful. She was like, all right, just make sure your breath don't stink. You know what I mean? So when I did it and they sent that part of it, I was like, I wanted to get her opinion because I'm gonna be honest with you. I was more concerned about it looking authentic, right? You know, because the lady that I did it with, she was super professional, right? She was a consummate professional, but there wasn't. I'm gonna say it wasn't a chemistry kind of. We had to act it, right? And so I sent it to my wife. I was like, "Does this look real?" You know, and she was like, I mean, you did all right. You know, you did all right. I said, but does it look okay? Does it look fake? She said, nah, it looks good. You know, so my wife is very secure, you know, good. As she should be. You know, I'm going to tell y'all something. It's funny. Like when we were younger and we was trying to come up, we didn't have much money. So she knew that, like, you know, women kind of liked me, right? So we would go to certain restaurants. And so she would braid my hair, like fix me up, right? And then she'd be like, okay, now go in there And she'd be like, and get me some extra fish and some extra chicken, because she knew they would flirt with me and put extra stuff in there. So she would tell me what to get her. Yeah, and then make sure
she knew the game.
She knew the game, you know. And so I remember we would laugh, and I'd be like, man, is you low key pimping me? Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So wifey, she's that's the wind beneath my wings. Like, real talk, I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for her, you know.
How come you never tried to like interview her or put her on camera or anything like that?
That's not her personality.
She doesn't want to.
My wife is, you know, she's got a master's degree. She's a professional. She's so not the arts and like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? She's kind of she's shy. You know, she don't. You put the camera on her and she gonna clam up like
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that just. But she did say the other day. She said, well, I forgot what we were talking about. It may have been something relationship wise. And she said, you know what? She said, I should come on and we should talk about that.
Wow.
And so I said, well, you know, our kids are working. You know, my son works BTS. My youngest daughter works BTS, and she does my daughter's makeup and she styles my daughter. I said, you know, whenever you want to do it, we can do it.
That's so live. I think that's that's the key, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like God ain't gonna do nothing but bless it.
Yeah,
and that's the whole game.
The other part too, like I was talking to my barber the other day, and that's why I love you guys' relation. I love how y'all work together. The thing is, you know, a lot of couples, man, they get lost. Like, even though y'all work together, y'all still have your own identities. Right, you're not tethered to each other so much to where you get lost. So me and my wife, I think how we've been able to sustain is she is on her own person. She has her own aspirations and dreams, and I support her in that. And she does the same for me, even though they're very separate. You know what I'm saying? So she's not like trying to swerve over and be in my world, and you know, oh, I want to be, you know, and I don't swerve over to her world, you know. So I think is that's what makes it work with us. We just know how to support each other. I show up to her, you know, she functions with her, you know what I mean? And it's doctors and, you know, nurse practitioners, which is what she is, and all of that. And, you know, I just support her, and they kind of look at me like, how this happen? You know?
Yeah, we on Boss Talk 101. Yeah, we gonna talk.